Hey, what's up guys? My name is Jeremy. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about 4 tips on how to pass your college exams with a special guest. And I just want to clarify that even though I'm giving these tips, I'm not an expert at test taking either. So it's not like I get A's all the time and I'm just here trying to school you guys, obviously, because I get B's, C's all the time. But these are just the tips that personally help me improve in my exams and help me get better grades. Now, as I said earlier, I have a special guest with me. His name is Michael. He's a student at UCSD studying computer science, and he'll be joining me along telling you guys the rest of the 2 tips later on in the video. And you guys should check out his channel and his video link down below as well. So there's going to be combined 8 tips with my video of 4 and his video of 4 as well. So enough talking, let's just jump right into the tips. Tip number 1 is probably going to be rest well and eat well before the exam. A lot of students tend to pull all-nighters and it may work in their favor, but at most part, I usually find it very, very tiring. And I just find that even though I don't usually pull all-nighters, whenever I sleep at 4 or 3 in the morning before I take my exam, I always find myself super tired. I always just find those formulas lost in my head. And in comparison to having a good enough sleep on the day beforehand, I'm actually able to recall a lot of the definitions, a lot of the formulas, a lot of the equations that I'm supposed to remember. Another factor I want to add in is also eating, because you don't want to go in on an empty stomach. You always want to have breakfast, and that is super important, because if you don't, then you might focus on your hunger and you might not even focus on the exam, and you might hear your stomach growling, and it's just pretty bad. You don't want to have your stomach growling and distract yourself, distract everybody around you with your stomach. So always eat well, eat breakfast, even though you don't usually eat breakfast, but during exams you should have a good breakfast. Tip number 2 is probably going to be time management. Basically, when you first get your exam and it's handed to you from the teacher, you always want to take a look and glance through the whole exam. This is a rookie mistake that I made before where I didn't do it, and I thought the exam was going to be short, so I spent a good amount of time on 1 problem and 2 problem, and I didn't even realize there's a whole word problem in the back that takes around 20 or 30 minutes to do, and it just honestly just screwed me over. So always glance through the exam before. You always want to see what you have to do, how much work you have, and you could always start a time manage from then on. And not only that, but this also helps you time manage while taking the exam. So you can always skip on the harder questions, give it a little star or a little circle next to it and move on to the easier questions, so you get more points that way, and then go back to the harder questions that you have in the beginning if you have spare time. Because obviously you'd rather skip, 1 hard question that's worth 5 points rather than miss out on time later on easy questions that's worth maybe 2 or 3 points, but there's a lot of them and you don't want to miss that. You'd rather just tackle all the easy stuff and then just go on the hard stuff later on when you have the time. Before I start time managing on my exams, I always take 10-15 minutes on 1 problem. And when I get towards the end, I'm just wow, I could have definitely done this earlier, and it would have been so much better because I would have known all the easy questions, but I just decided to spend 10-15 minutes on a hard question and miss out on a bunch of points that I could have gotten. And not only that, but I might not even get the 1 hard question correct. So I'm at a lose-lose situation here if I don't time manage properly. Now, those are the 2 tips that I have for exam taking. The rest is gonna be with Michael. So I'm gonna let him take it away with his video.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael and I study mathematics and computer science at UCSD. And here are my 2 tips on how to absolutely kill those exams. Number 1 is you're definitely gonna wanna go to those review sessions. Many classes will sort of have review sessions, either taught by the professor or a teaching assistant. And now I've met a ton of people that think these are sort of a waste of time. They feel like it's more efficient if they just study on their own. But pretty much in every case where there's been a review session, that is not the case. The teaching assistants and the professor both know the format of the exam. They've been through multiple iterations of the exam and they know what content to cover. So if it seems like the professors and the teaching assistants are focusing on a particular topic, you can pretty much be sure that topic is going to be on the exam. I once had a class where the review session almost covered about 5 out of the 8 problems on the final exam, and this was for a math class, and they almost covered each problem word for word. If you knew those problems, you almost could easily do so well on the exam. One of my friends didn't go to the review session, and I did, and he immediately told me that he regretted it, because if you didn't go to the review session, the exam was so much harder. So definitely hit up those review sessions, my dudes. Now, number 2 for acing those exams is you want to explain the topics to someone else. So when we explain things to somebody else, it shows how much we actually really know about the subject and where we should study more. Teaching is such a powerful tool when it comes to learning and retaining knowledge for both people involved, because not only explaining a topic to someone does that help the person explaining it, but it also helps the person hearing the information, because sometimes your bros just explain things a little bit easier to understand than the professor. So one of my friends, one of his main ways of retaining information is actually explaining things, the topics in class. So whenever I have a question, whenever we're doing homework together, I always ask him, because sometimes he explains things way easier than going through like the 100 lecture slides the professor made, or rewatching the entire lecture and trying to figure out what they mean or looking things up. And I think that helps both of us, because sometimes he'll explain something and I'm like, that doesn't make sense, and he'll be like, oh wait, actually it's like this. So kind of helps both of our understandings, you know? You're not always right when it comes to explaining things, but that also helps identify what you need to study more. So those are 2 of my tips for acing exams. I hope you guys ace your exams, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you again, Michael, for working together with me. And as I said, check out his channel below. He's also a college student doing YouTube, and he makes awesome stuff. So go ahead, and all the links are gonna be down below in the description. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this little collaboration I had with my buddy Michael. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. I post college content weekly, so there's always something to look forward every week. And hit the like button if you find this video helpful. And if you feel like I'm missing some kind of tip, be sure to comment down below as well on what tips you guys have on, exam taking, and might help other people out. So who knows? Well, that's it for today, guys. We'll see you guys next week, and have a good one. Bye, guys.